Here's the race 6 recap with Hutto and his disastrous race. So basically we're just starting in our video now. This is the stream. I do my normal race profile and lead-ins and things like that. And because we're in Scotland, got my nice Scottish hat on there, things are going well. Talk about Nathan and how he's got his Scottish hat on over on the other stream, OTR, doing the warm-up as per normal. Again, race profile, discussing that on the stream. Everything's going pretty well at this point. Been on the warm-up for a little while now, so legs are pretty fresh. And then we're getting ready to go. So just going through that normal startup procedure as we do. Rider profile, quick spiel through that, and go through that on the stream. My last little bit of my warm-up, just poking around. Now we're changing worlds, heading across into the race and the pens. So you can see I got there plenty of time, got it towards the front of the pens and put myself in. That's okay. Still doing a bit of a warm-up and doing just getting ready for procedure. I've looked at the clock, I've got like 3 minutes on there, thinking I've got plenty of time. And then we're going to fast forward in a minute and we'll cut down to the last 10 seconds and get ready for the start. So in a minute now we should be fast forwarding. We'll whiz down to the start here. Okay, speed up a little bit. So doing the normal chit chat to everybody, making sure everybody's ready to go, having all those sorts of discussions on the phone, getting myself ready. Got my Swift Source that's now come up, so I've got that ready to go. So you can see that almost things I'm basically ready to race. And then we're just still, I don't know, watching the screen, everything's going okay. Counting down, minute to go now. And we'll get down to that last 10 seconds. Still watching what's going on the screen. And at some point here, I'm just like completely, brain has faded out of the job at hand. Something's come up on the phone or something like that. You can see me look down on my phone. I don't know, I just thought I had more time. I'm not sure what happened here, but you see that we got 5 seconds on the clock. I'm still not even paying attention. The race start, you can see I'm moving, but that's only because I'm just going to keep my legs ticking over and just poking along. It is literally, I've timed this, it is a 13-second head start that I have now given everybody. And I obviously wake up, I realise that the pack has gone, I'm in big trouble, so I'm sprinting pretty hard to try and get that back on. And you can see on the Swift, the little bit on the side there, you can see the main pack, and the little blue bob just above my head is me trying to catch that up. Watts-wise, you can also notice like I'm doing some pretty big watts and trying to catch that group. At the moment, I've got whatever it is, 4 seconds, I think, behind that main group. I'm holding that, you can see him at this here, I'm getting closer. This guy here is just dropping off, so past him, I'm no longer last, but as that group has hit that gradient to go down here, they're obviously, with the pack dynamics and the draft and everything else that they've got on there, they are starting to hold me off. I can't bridge that gap any further. Obviously, my legs are starting to tire because I've got no draft to gain, I've got no support to try and catch up to them. And even though some of my power figures are equal to or a little bit more than that main pack because of the drafting and everything that happens with the pack dynamics, pretty much my ship has sailed. That's the race over, and I think I realised that. So I try to obviously stick with this. You can tell that it's a losing battle. So going through my head, I'm just sort of thinking, okay, if I can sort of time trial to the first climb up the Bray, maybe there's a group that can't handle the climb and will drop off a bit, potentially leaving a window open to get hold of them to climb back on. So we stream along till we get to that. I'm working pretty hard, but you can see in the window that time is just pulling out for me. Once it hits about 16 seconds, I know that that's well and truly game over for me. There is no coming back from this. In the meantime, I'm like texting the other teammates just to say that, yep, I've missed the start, I've completely watched this up, and so they tried to give them a bit of a heads up to do what they can in terms of points for the race. Make sure that they leave some fuel in the tank for the climb, because we've got 3 climbs to go. But yes, ship has sailed. I'm just trying to trial it through now to the end of the race. I don't want to give up. Part of me quickly thought about, well, there's not much point in continuing on, I might as well just give up. But I thought, well, we can try and see whether we can get some people here. And you can notice that this is the first time up the climb. I look at the little map, they've only just gone through the gate at the top of the climb, and it was quite spread out in the field. You can sort of see them. If we slow down a little bit, you'll see that we've got 55 in the main blob there, but there's quite a few blobs as that goes over the top where they spread out a bit. And I still think that there is that chance to perhaps get to a group or things like that. As we get over the top of the climb, or I get to the top, you can see some of those groups are now just solidifying again. They're already on the downhill as I'm going up, and they're just pulling time away from me. So it is, yeah, pretty much game over. I then thought turned to trying to catch some of those smaller groups if they slow down enough. So I'm still pedaling quite hard to try and catch them up and to continue on with this. And so then continue on. I thought about trying to save some energy on the bulk of the course, then go really hard through the climbs to see whether I can get any FTS points on those climbs. Maybe I could catch some for the team that way, but feeling really gutted about not letting the team down and not being able to contribute to that. So that's where that was at. We go around, we finish the laps here, and just let this play through. You can see that the times are just not getting any better for me, and go through that. As we're going through it, we do have people that are joining my stream, that are chatting to me on the side, trying to get me to keep the chin up and stuff like that. But I know the race has gone. We're no more in the hunt for anything here, which is disappointing, as it was a race I think that would suit my style of riding. So, but that's now well and truly gone. So we're just continuing to move around the track. What's keeping me going here is the fact that there is those little groups in front of me where other riders have fallen out of the main group, and so as I guess a carrot for me to try and increase my placing. So I'm sitting 57 out of 58 at the moment. There's only one person behind me, so I thought, well, if I get past these ones, there's a few extra places that I've gained. Wasn't sure of the finishing points on offer and where I'd get on that. But I thought if I can get through some people, get past those, either one, see whether I can draft off those and recover a little bit to get back towards somewhere decent, and or just to try and increase my placings within the field. So we've got about 5 riders, I think, that are coming up towards us, which I'll go past. In that time, I was thinking about whether I stay with them or whether I just push through, and that sort of decision is made for me when we hit one of the climbs. So I just decided to push on with that and just continue to do the best of a bad situation. Pick up the feather through that gate. Decided to hang on to that and try and use that on the next great climb. So even though we had this downhill here, having a bit of a push through here, we come up to the castle at the end of this bit, and instead of using my power up there, I decided to hang on to that because I want to keep that for the braid, try and put more efforts for that. So here we just sort of go through that, catch up to some of these riders through here. So I'm doing enough to get through that, catch up to these guys. I'm not wanting to, go too hard there, but just enough to get through what we're going to do. We come around through these corners, and eventually we'll see that we'll come back to the start of the climb for the second time. So this group's still with me a bit, doing a little bit of recovery, but not a lot. Just you can see them actually, the draft going up and down, so we actually do get some. Second climb is here, so this is one where I decided to see if I could put some power down, try to get some FTS point. So I use my power up as we're going through here when the climb starts to get a bit harder, and drop those guys, but without having that big group to help you tow you through that start point of this climb where the gradient's not too bad, you lose a lot of speed there. So already I'm behind the 8 ball in terms of getting anything on an FTS through here. I drop the power up when we hit about 5 to 6%, use that right through here till it sort of levels off. And then after this, when it turns back to the right, gradient sort of drops down, only comes back up to about 3%. So using it here, my power up's gone, I've got nothing else to basically give, just keep going. I push through this as best I can. Obviously I've made up 53 now, so I've made up a few positions, but that's it for the second climb of the night. I've got another rider, single rider in front of me, and then the main group, and that's it. So again, we just sort of push through for that and go for the last lap line, and just see what we can pull out of a very bad situation. So certainly a nice feeling knowing that you've just had a really bad end to what was a pretty good season. So I was sitting second or something like that on points within our team. So I'd had a good season. This would have been, I thought, a good race for me. Suits my style of riding, but an all-out sprinter, so the sprinting doesn't do well for me. I'm not an all-out climber, so I'm sort of in that middle range. So I thought this was a good course that would do that. We did a race earlier in the week and went really well on it. So it was going into this race, feeling very confident that it would be a good turnout for me and good points to finish on. Potentially we're sitting at the start of the race, our team 1 point behind. So it was a really good chance to do well on this race, get some good points, jump into potentially second position. And so all these things are going through my head, thoughts of the fact that I've missed all those points, and potentially the hopes of the team and finals and things like that might have then been sunk purely because I just wasn't concentrating at the start of the race and completely messed that up. So, it basically ended up being just like a time trial the whole way around, no draft, no support in that sense. You just got to do it all on your own, all on your with whatever power you got, and just do it if you can. Jagged another feather power up that gate, so again holding on to that, not using that because I thought I'd leave that on the last climb of the night again. So we've got 4 Ks to go, we're almost there. You can see that rider in the distance. So I was hoping to catch him, which that was, I guess, another thing that sent him to something to work towards. And eventually caught up to him, have a bit of a chat to him as we go past. And I think this was the last person that I managed to get past with him. So I pushed him to 52nd position. So certainly nothing to write home about. Again, we're almost in the same spot where I worked them up, the other riders in my last lap. And down we go. We're going to get this nice little trending downhill before we go up through the pass. We're almost on the home stretch. So work up through here, and then we're almost there. 1.5 Ks to go. And I know, I've done what I can do. There's nothing more that I can do. We are all at the Red Rover. So So here's the start of the last climb. Away we go. Did the same thing as I did last time. Just sort of tried to ride hard from the start here. Guy behind me dropped as we went through those climbs, so he's back behind me. You can see there's nobody in front on the source screen there. They've all finished the race. I think they ended up running about 2 minutes in front of me. So yeah, they were truly pulled right away from me. Used my power up and done what I can do to go up this climb. And that was how the race was. Basically lost the that sort of split second. I think as we get to that start, the main group was only about 4 seconds down on me. So instead of about 13 second gap, if it was only, if I looked up that, an 8 second buffer or whatever, potentially I may have caught back on. But that was it. And that's all that. So didn't even like that. We had some great rides, wasn't it, the team? But yeah, that's my recap of a race that I'd love to forget. So don't pay attention at the start, is the moral.